Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I'm going to invite you to watch a video by Dr. Milo Wolfe as he shares his opinion about building size and strength. Before I get into this topic, if you guys need coaching, check out the link below. Coaching is what I do for a living. I would love to work with you. All right, so let's just dive in. I'm not going to talk about this at all. Dive in, we'll watch a video, and we can kind of react live. I was going to kind of structure an intelligent rebuttal, but you know what? I don't have time today. I need to get on to my coaching clients, and to be honest with you, this is a pretty ridiculous video, so I don't really think we need to have 8 bullet points as a rebuttal. So let's just listen.
You can't build your best physique and get as strong as possible at the same time. There is an opportunity cost. The best training for strength and size differ in a long list of things. From volume to proximity to failure to specificity of movements versus exercise variation, the muscle groups you need to get strong in, rep ranges, rest times, the range of motion, and even the time cost of bodybuilding and powerlifting concurrently. That being said, to become as strong as you possibly can, you do also need to get bigger. So it's not as though one doesn't at all serve the other. Plus, doing some back work and some curls doesn't actually take that much time. So you might be able to get around 80% of your maximum size gains and maximum strength gains at the same time, if you combine them carefully.
If you combine them carefully, you can get 80% at the same time. I'm going to tell you, this is a completely ridiculous statement. There's so many things to unpack here. I don't even know where to begin. I will tell you, number one, if you're involved with hard training, number one, I've never been a power lifter. I came to this straight from bodybuilding, a love for bodybuilding, a love for muscle. That began in 1986, and I didn't know anything about powerlifting until 2007. I trained in conventional rep ranges. I didn't even know what low rep ranges were. I didn't even know people did that. I didn't know that people did competitions with squats, bench, and dead. I just did barbell exercises, dumbbells, machines. I just did what I do now and teach on the Massive Iron Channel. So basically what I did was hard training, and from hard training, the plus ones naturally came. That's what we teach. Anybody that is competent in this fitness influencer world can tell you that if you're after muscle, we go into the gym and we train hard. And from hard training, we get the plus ones or we get the progress. We all know that progressive overload is necessary for muscle growth, but we don't chase random strength. We don't chase powerlifting strength. We chase hard training, and from that, we get the plus ones. And over time, we get very, very strong. Now, I ended up around 1999 with ridiculous strength levels. I didn't have any idea back then what ridiculous strength levels were. I hadn't even been on the internet yet. My dumbbell overhead presses were 120s for 5. I was at my strongest on bench, right around 430. Squats, I never really went over like 365 for 5 on squats. And I wasn't deadlifting back then. So my strength was pretty darn strong. I mean, I was a little bit weak on my dumbbell rows, but I really hadn't seen a dumbbell over 120 pounds to that point. So I was just doing 120s for 3 sets of 10. Now, fast forward to when I was hired with Muscle and Strength. I had the opportunity to go video some of the top naturals, legit naturals in the United States. They sent me on kind of a job-related, travel around the United States, and I got the video, for example, Mr. Minnesota, and I got the video, Mr. North Carolina. I remember, and I share this story a lot because it's typical that Mr. North Carolina, we went into the gym to film, and he said, I'm not very strong, right? And this is something I hear a lot from bodybuilders. I'm not very strong. So he proceeded to get the 150s and knock out 10 reps on dumbbell bench. All right. So around the same time, I was competing in world-class powerlifting meets in the UPA with like the Lillibridges, Pete Rubish, etc. 150s for multiple sets of 10 on the dumbbell bench is easily at least a 400-pound bench. Now, at these UPA meets, maybe only 10% of the guys were benching 430. The Lillibridges were benching somewhere between at these UPA meets, only 10% of the guys were benching above 400, right? The Lillibridges, I don't know, and Rubish somewhere between 430 and 470. This Mr. North Carolina was over 400 with his bench. Now, I had an opportunity to not only meet a ton of bodybuilders, naturals and otherwise, my time at Muscle and Strength and Tiger Fitness, but men's physique competitors and on and on and on. A lot of transformation stories. All of these people were incredibly strong, right? And almost all of them would say, I'm not very strong. They're not training for strength. But the point here is that there's no concessions that need to be made. There's no difference in training. If you're not training for powerlifting, let's just set that aside, right? If somebody's training for peak powerlifting strength, compared to somebody that's just going to be a bodybuilder in the bodybuilding lifestyle. So you have peak powerlifting strength, and you have somebody that's going to train for the bodybuilding lifestyle. Basically, you're going to get to about 95% of where you would be in powerlifting. That's a generic number. I mean, I don't want to create a rule. You're going to get so close to where you would be if you just did straight powerlifting after that it would be ridiculous. So this whole concept of 80%, like there's somehow a lot of differences between training for muscle and strength at the same time is completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. It's, I can't even begin to state how ridiculous it is and how off base this video is. If you are just training well-rounded for bodybuilding and you focus on hard training, you're going to end up with ridiculous strength levels. Sure, if you jumped over to powerlifting and decided to do some lower rep work, you could bump your lifts up, maybe, 2.5, 5, 10%, but that's not what we're talking here. If we if we roll back a little bit, okay, where he says
get bigger. So it's not as though one doesn't at all serve the other. Plus, doing some back work and some curls doesn't actually take that much time. So you might be able to get around 80% of your...
This is where he stumbles, 80% of your maximum size gains.
Maximum size gains and maximum strength gains.
No, it's not true at all. This is basically how we train in the massive iron world. We're not specifically power builders, but we train very classically, and we focus on hard training, and we focus on plus ones from hard training. And I will tell you, whether you're a man or a woman, if you just do conventional training with a well-rounded selection of exercises, even if you do them in the bodybuilding way, and that's how I've always built strength, in the bodybuilding way, controlling my weight, not recklessly throwing things around, not using low rep sets, right? I've always trained in the bodybuilding way. You're not going to sacrifice strength gains compared to somebody next to you, right? It's a ridiculous statement. Powerlifters, he mentioned it. Top level powerlifters are the strongest powerlifters are almost always the biggest, so they have to train for size as well. There's no difference here, folks. There's no difference for you, the general public. There's no difference in size and strength. The bottom line here, this is just a ridiculous video. It's so, I'm trying to say this in the right way. It is so optimized, it became suboptimal, right? That's where we're at as a lifting community right now, that our science is so optimized that it became suboptimal, that it misses the bigger picture. If you go in and just focus on muscle building, and you use a good selection of exercises, and you're doing all the bodybuilding stuff, and you're focused on hard training, from that, the fruit of hard training is going to be plus ones. And if you apply that over the course of a lifting career, 5, 10, 15 years, you're going to be ridiculously strong and not really that far behind. You're certainly not only at 80%. And you're certainly, this whole concept that you have to do different things. If you, the general trainee, want to build size and strength, that you have to somehow do different things over the course of 10 years is utterly ridiculous. Just be smart, guys. Enjoy your training and don't get so optimal that you become suboptimal. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.